Good afternoon, everyone. We have a special guest today that we're very honored to have with us. He is a 36-year-old successful businessman who left it all behind to be of service to his country by being a senior advisor to the President of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared Kushner. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me. And
thank you for being here.
thank you. It's an honor
That's
to be
good.
here. I know a lot of people in the audience here, and it's really an honor to be able to talk about this topic with so many people who I respect so much, who have given so much to this issue. So,
great. You've been in the news in the last few days, to say the least.
yeah.
But you've been in the news about an issue that I personally want to thank you for.
Thank you.
Okay. The President has referred to the Middle East peace as the ultimate deal. Everyone here knows that. Experts give you high marks for trying, but none of them believe it's possible. Why do you think it's possible? Or do you think it's possible?
Let's start right with it then. So,
Okay, yes.
The President has a very long career of accomplishing things that a lot of people say were impossible. I think the most recent example of that is the election, where a lot of people who were the experts on the election thought that was impossible, and the President took a very unconventional approach towards running and was ultimately successful with that. When we started the process of looking at how to create the peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, the first thing a lot of people told us was that it wasn't the right time. The conditions weren't right. After years of distrust, we were really wasting our time to do it. The approach we've taken, even Barak Ravid wrote recently that the President's injected peace back into the discussions, and that's something we're very proud of because we do think it is achievable, and we think that there is a lot of reasons why this is a time, why it should happen. When you look at the region, you have several issues that are of grave concern to people. You have Iran and their nuclear ambitions and their expansive regional mischief. You have ISIS, which this administration's done a really great job of beating back and almost defeating at this point. You have the ideology, the extremism, which I think you're now seeing a lot of leaders in the Muslim world try to restore the religion to what it always has been, and to try to eliminate the ability for people to pervert it in the way they have. And then you have the Israeli-Palestinian issue. And I think that if we're going to try and create more stability in the region as a whole, you have to solve this issue. And so the President sees it as something that has to be solved, that he very much wants to be solved, and it's something that he's personally put a lot of time into trying to see happen.
I understand that, but to achieve that, the team has in it an entrepreneur, you, a real estate lawyer, a bankruptcy lawyer. I don't know how you've lasted 8 months in this lineup, but that's for another day. And it's impressive that it's still going. There's not a Middle East macher in this group. So, I mean, how do you operate with people who basically, with all due respect, a bunch of Orthodox Jews who have no idea about anything? What are you guys doing?
So I'll definitely say...
seriously, I don't understand this.
So I'll definitely say it's not a conventional team, but...
you can say that again.
Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Well, say it again.
Okay. It's a perfectly qualified team in the way Chaim sees it. So
how is that?
No, I was joking.
Oh, okay.
So we have. So when we were thinking about how to put a team together, the President and I focused on who had the right qualifications, who we both trusted, and We have David Friedman, who's one of the most brilliant bankruptcy lawyers, who is a close friend
of mine. It's a bankrupt situation, so yeah. So it's appropriate to have a bankruptcy lawyer.
You could argue that you're wondering why they've never had a bankruptcy lawyer working on this before.
And it's a real estate issue too, so you're on the real estate aspect. So.
Well, actually, so there's no better real estate lawyer than Jason Greenblatt, who's been working on this. And there are a lot of real estate related issues to it, but it's also a function of being able to listen to all the different sides and understand them, and the personalities work. We also have Dina Powell, who works with us, who has been very instrumental. Her family's Egyptian, she speaks Arabic, but she's been very instrumental in helping us develop a regional aspirational economic plan for what could happen post-peace, because we don't view a peace agreement just as signing a piece of paper and then hoping everything works out. We're focused on what happens after, and how do you create an environment where 10 years down the road, the people who are beneficiaries of the peace have jobs and opportunity that they didn't have before. So that's really how the teams worked. I'd say that the best thing about the team is there is a lot of trust within the team. And the fact that we're so close, there's been no leaks on the process to date, has enabled a lot of the sides that we work with to be able to work with us maybe in a more open format than they would have. So what we found originally was there was a lot of hesitancy from the people on both sides to share ideas, to really explore the ideas with us in a way that could be constructive to come to conclusions. But what we found is, as they saw that nothing would leak out and we could have honest and open dialogues, and that we were really listening to what they had to say and what their issues were and how they thought things could be resolved, we saw that the conversations really opened up a lot.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned trust, because there's no trust between the sides at all. You've managed to build trust on the Israeli side. I know you're working hard on building trust on the Palestinian side. But frankly, it's all going to end up with the mediator, you. Both sides need to trust you, because if they don't, then you won't be able to, by any stretch of the imagination, get there. What is your approach in getting them to trust you? They don't trust each other, that's a fact, right? As you mentioned.
Let me take two of the different things you mentioned there that I slightly disagree with. The first thing is I think there actually is a lot.
You disagree with me?
Yes.
That's a bad idea.
Should I? If you want to stop this, we can. But only slight disagreements. So the first thing that you mentioned was that there's no trust between the Israelis and the Palestinians. I think that there's a lot of instances of great trust between Israelis and Palestinians. I think that there's not a lot of trust between the leadership. And I think that's what we've been really working on, because the leadership ultimately has to come together. But I've been very overwhelmed by all the cases I've seen of Israelis and Palestinians working together and having great relationships and saying, look, if we could only get this thing resolved politically, then we could move on to a much brighter future. With regards to trust in the mediator, I think that we've done our job, but both sides really trust the president. And I think that that's very important, because while I've been working the problem for the president, the fact that both sides trust him and know that he has the right intentions and the right creativity and the right desires to see this happen has been very important. What I will say, though, is that as this process has gone through, my team in particular, being 3 Orthodox Jews and a Coptic Egyptian, has tried very hard to do a lot of listening, not just with the Israelis, because when we have titles and positions, that doesn't come with trust. Trust is earned. It's not granted. So we've gone out of our way to do a lot of listening with the Palestinians, with the Israelis, to understand what their issues are, what their red lines are, why they're their red lines, and then to decide how we can find areas of mutual agreement and to find reasons to do things as opposed to reasons not to do things. We've done the same with the different countries that are regional stakeholders, and I think the fact that we've tried to find a solution that comes from the region as opposed to imposing something.
Yeah, I'd like to pick on that.
Sure.
Because I think that